guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale and more. Man, I am so excited about today's video. I have Pompeyo, level 11 at 7,009 trophies right now. Incredible stuff, top 300, but I have him on voice for the first time in 5 years. Pompeyo, I was telling you off mic that, man, you must have been on my channel, including Pro vs. Pros, when you had that epic win streak, like 20 times now. This is the first time I've actually gotten to speak with you on the video here. So welcome to the channel, dude.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I mean, it's very exciting to finally be on voice.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate the invite.
No problem, man. I appreciate you coming on voice. It's really cool. And I wanted to actually start this interview talking, we'll get into your deck. We'll get into your ladder tips, the specific deck tips for Balloon, Minor Cycle, your classic deck. But before all that, I kind of want to start way in the beginning. Like, how old are you? Are you like 19, 20 right now?
I'm actually 20 years old. Okay. I started playing like at 16 years, no, at 15 years.
Yeah, because so you started the very early days of beta.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, I started like actually day one of the game when it came out like on beta.
So 1/4 of your life, 5 years of your life has been playing Clash Royale, right? Yeah.
You think, about that, like it's pretty crazy. Yeah, 1/4 of my life.
Right? Playing this mobile game professionally now.
Yeah.
And, you were like the first big superstar ever in Clash Royale in the 15K tournaments. Like, you were the first name that I heard of, like, who's this Pompeyo dude, And now here we are again 5 years later, and now this is your livelihood. You are a professional player. You are in location in a team house for Shivas Esports. But before we get down that road, let me ask you this, Pomp, like, how has Clash Royale changed your life, other than the obvious that it is your career?
I mean, it's so crazy because I never thought like a video game would change my life. I really didn't expect anything when I downloaded the game. I just expected like some fun. But now I got like my whole life depends on like Clash Royale, and like I've gotten so many great opportunities, so many great experiences with the game that I really am blessed to have them. Like, I am so thankful for them, and I don't know, it's just been crazy. Like, it's a crazy change of a life. Yeah.
And you've always been, like, to your credit too, you've always been such like a positive and friendly and kind guy. Like, you're never involved in any drama or anything, and you're always positive. Is that just your nature as a person outside of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I just don't like a lot of drama. Yeah. I don't get involved in all that stuff.
Yeah, man, it definitely speaks to your character. So, what do you, just out of curiosity, like, what do you do outside of Clash Royale? Like, did you play any other video games? Like, what are your biggest life hobbies or passions or whatever outside of CR?
I mean, I usually like played other video games just for like fun, like casual. Mm-hmm. I played like Call of Duty and Fortnite and other things, for casual.
Sure.
Casual playing, but right now I'm like very busy with like Clash Royale League, so I can't really like do other stuff.
Sure.
I sometimes play like other games to disconnect from Clash Royale, but usually it's just like playing Clash Royale for like 7-8 hours per day.
I was going to ask you how many hours per day. So 7-8 hours per day, and obviously you have your level 11 account here, top 300 ladder. Is this is your preferred way to get better at the game? Is it a combination of like ladder challenges, playing against your teammates? Like, how do you feel like you get the most improvement in Clash Royale?
I mean, it's a combination, because I actually don't use ladder a lot for practicing, because I only use one deck. Mm-hmm. So I prefer practicing other decks with my teammates and sometimes on grand challenges, but usually ladder I play only one deck.
Now,
so it's not like a big practice. I don't use it for practice, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when you started playing the game, like, what was your favorite deck way back in the day when you were winning those, the Bren Chong 15K tournaments? Did you have a favorite deck, or did you just play everything? I almost forgot what you played on ladder like the first time I had you on the channel.
Yeah, I pretty much played a lot of things back then.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't like a specific meta back then. I used to play like Hawk Freeze and Giant Poison. I remember those days. Yeah.
Some Goizen decks like back in the day. What was your favorite meta of all time in the game?
Dude, I don't know. There's been a lot of metas.
Yeah, right.
I think CRL, like last season of CRL, like CRL Fall of 2019, was my favorite meta.
Okay.
I mean, I was pretty good with Fisherman, and I
Fisherman.
really like that card. So it was pretty. It was a good meta. I actually liked it a lot.
Yeah, man, I like that meta too. I actually miss Fisherman
Yeah.
being viable. I've been saying for a long time that I wish that card was actually, because it's interesting, right? It's different, it's unique, it adds something new to the
Yeah.
game. What are your thoughts on Skeleton Dragon? Speaking of new to the game, do you think that that card is too powerful, is just fine, or do you not have an opinion on it?
I mean, I actually haven't practiced a lot with them because they are not allowing them in CRL for now. So I haven't been practicing with them a lot. But I think they are pretty balanced. I think they do way too much DPS, but I think they are overall a pretty balanced card. There are a lot of skeleton dragons right now because it's a new card and it has the boost. But I think next season is gonna be balanced.
Okay, sounds good, man. I'm excited to see what they do if they touch the card at all. I think that my viewers are kind of split 50-50 on if they need a nerf or if they're just fine right now. So it'll be interesting to see when you guys can play them, how much action they get in CRL and Pro Play. But I'm just going to watch one more replay here, then we'll watch a couple together and you can kind of break down your moves inside a match. But let me ask you about, okay, so how you evolved from Ladder God. Definitely, I would say you are the best ladder player of all time. You're the GOAT of ladder. I think like early days, we're talking 2016, 2017, it was like you and Guanek, like back and forth, like getting #1 finishes after #1 finishes. So how challenging has it been moving from ladder to competitive play? Is it totally different? Is it similar? Like how has that been, that process?
I think it's kind of different because on ladder you can use like one deck and just one trick that one deck and be very good with it and get like good high finishes. But on competitive you need to use like a lot of different decks. You need to have a deck pool. So it's been a bit challenging, to get that deck pool to where you want it to be. But usually like ladder players don't have that big of a disadvantage against a competitive player because they really know how to use one deck, so they can build their deck pool around that deck, and like they can have their preferred deck, and they can have like 10 other decks that they are decent at or maybe good, and they can be a very good competitive player that way.
Yeah, so how often do you, I wish I had the stats in front of me, but I'm just going to ask, how often do you go back to your comfort zone in competitive play? Like if you have to win a match, does it just depend on the player? Does it depend on the match up until that point? Or when is it like the last resort to bust out the Pompeyo deck, the one that you're playing in this video? Or how do you decide when and where to use this deck?
I mean, it depends a lot of on the player you are playing against because sometimes their deck pool like completely counters your great, like my deck, for example.
Yeah.
So it really depends on like the player you're playing and also like the circumstances. Like if you're playing like a high risk match, I think it's a much bigger possibility of you like using your best deck. If you're playing like the first game in the King of the Hill or something like that, it's not a lot of
pressure.
Like you don't need to. Yeah, there's not a lot of pressure, so you can
compared
use, like,
to the
other
last.
decks.
Yeah. That makes sense. So talking about your deck specifically, you've been playing it for a couple years at least now, or different versions of it. Do you have the Tombstone in there originally? Was it? Or
Yeah,
was it?
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, 2 years ago I had like the deck created. I had with Tombstone, but then the Goblin Cage released. So I'm now using it with Goblin Cage because I think it's better than the Tombstone.
Yeah, and when we look at this deck, so I've had you on the channel, not on voice though ever. So why don't we just kind of cut to the chase here and talk about things that I wouldn't pick up on, my viewers wouldn't pick up on just by watching your gameplay. So when you see other players play your deck, what is the biggest thing that you identify of like, oh, that's not what I would do, or they're playing this card incorrectly or not? Any tips that kind of come to mind that maybe are a little bit next level, I guess, with your deck that my viewers should know about?
I mean, a lot of people like don't really get how to pressure right with my deck. Like, sometimes you use canned pressure because they have a lot of counters to your balloon or something. And sometimes where they don't have absolutely anything or they don't have elixir. So I see most of those mistakes coming from like my own clanmates, which I have a clan actually, and they almost all of them use my deck, which is actually nice. But yeah, I see a lot of mistakes in them.
Deck. So,
Yeah.
so what indicators
it's
are you
crazy.
looking for when you're playing the deck that would let you know that, like you personally, not the other 49 guys playing the same deck in your clan, but what indicators are you looking for to know? Okay, this is specifically when I know to attack aggressively, or vice versa, not to attack in a situation.
You know, if they spend way too much elixir or you know, just general stuff like that. And also I see a lot of players like not playing the Goblin Cage that well.
Okay.
There's a lot of placements with that card that are very specific for different matchups.
Okay.
And most of those like casual players don't really get like those placements. Like they don't understand like why did I put my Goblin Cage that way, or why didn't I even put it in the first place?
Okay.
There's a lot of things going around that card that can lead like very different defenses.
Can you do me a super solid
deck.
before we get into the play-by-play? And can you just run a Goblin Cage mirror deck, and I'll throw like a couple cards at, or just like drop them in the correct locations for my viewers?
Okay, that's fine.
Awesome, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. And guys, if you don't care about this, which you should if you want to play the deck, go ahead and fast forward a couple minutes. But I just want to kind of just put like Goblin Cage mirror and let's friendly battle, and just so my viewers kind of know, you know. So what's your favorite arena, Pompeyo?
Actually, I like the Legendary Arena, which was like, I think it's Arena 10 now. The Hog Mountain Arena.
The Hog Mountain, I got you. The old school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the old school Legendary Arena.
Old school, like where you did your best work back in the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, that arena is...
So give me like, I don't know, Hog Rider, Golem, Giant, Sparky deck, Miner deck. I mean, obviously, just kind of run through. Some of them might be obvious, but just drop some like Goblin Cages on the locations given a win condition.
So I think the first one that is... Not a lot of people know this, but if you can actually hard counter a Hog Rider with the Goblin Cage without getting a hit.
Okay.
It is on this specific spot here. When it comes at you, you put it there, and the brawler just goes out and kills the Hog Rider before he gets to the tower.
Dude, really?
I had no idea. Know that.
Does it have to be like on the edge of the path, or can it be right in the middle?
It actually is on the edge because they usually place like the Hog Rider like on the wall. So,
okay.
So it's usually there. If they place it on the middle, then it's on the middle.
Okay, so I get that. So like if they put it on the edge on the wall, I'm putting it like right here. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Hog, wow, I already learned something new, man. I would have thought you just drop it in the, right in the obvious location. What about like against Lava Hound or something?
Oh, against Lava, it's actually
way
more tougher because Lava doesn't like go out of his way to get to a building. Usually don't place Goblin Cage against Lava.
Okay, you don't even
only
use
if they have balloon.
Okay.
If they have balloon, it's the the regular placement. It's here, coming from this side.
Okay.
So the balloon just like goes there, and the Lava Hound stays on the tower. So you can use like your Mega Minion or your Inferno Dragon to kill the balloon.
Okay. Makes perfect sense. What about against Golem or in Giant? Do you go same lane as both of those tanks, or do you go opposite against either?
Yeah, you actually don't. It's a very specific placement.
Okay, let's see it.
It's actually, I think it's here. Wait, give me a second.
Sure.
I think it's here. That a Golem actually goes there.
Yep.
I think it's there, or I think it's one higher. I don't remember.
I think that would pull a Golem. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then
I think
Giant
that pulls a Golem. Yeah.
And Giant would be one higher.
Yeah, Giant will be one higher for sure.
Okay, cool. And then if someone just attacks you with a random, do you have it back in hand or no?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. If someone just hits you with like a random minor balloon or something like that, what would you do here?
Well, you actually do this, and it pulls.
Oh, okay.
And then you can do like Mega Minion or
Whatever you
Inferno
want,
Dragon
yeah,
or
on top of it.
Fireball or whatever.
Okay, cool. What about, I guess that answers most of the popular matchups that I can think of. Is there anything that we're missing? Any kind of like trick, sneaky locations? Do you use it against Graveyard, like at all?
Oh, you can actually block the bridge with Graveyard.
Okay.
You know, if there's a knight
So like
going
right
in
here.
or something, yeah, you can just place it right there, and it wouldn't tank the tower.
The only time I'll ever beat Pompeyo. There we go. Right there. Screenshot. Boom. I'll put it on my fridge. Boom. All right. So, all right, man. Well, that was really helpful, actually. Thanks for going over that. One other card I wanted to ask you about before we kind of sync up for these matches is the Inferno Dragon. It seems like it's a unique choice. You don't see Inferno Dragon in other balloon cycle decks, like Lumberjack Balloon or traditional minor balloon decks. Why do you like the Inferno Dragon so much? And I noticed that you also... in matchups where you don't need it, I noticed that you cycle it quite a bit, like behind your King Tower. Is that still the case? This is based off old gameplay. Talk a little bit about the Inferno Dragon's role in your deck.
I mean, Inferno Dragon is basically your tank killer. You basically don't have any in your deck. I mean, maybe the Mega Minion can do that, but it doesn't deal enough damage. So you need a tank killer, and you also need an air troop. So this pretty much like... you get like amazing matchup against Lava because of the Inferno Dragon. You also get good matchups against Golem because of the Inferno Dragon. And you know, it's a really interesting card because it can really defend a lot of things, even if it's like against bait, which really you don't have anything to use it on. It still can work.
Okay.
So and I also like tanks the tower and everything, you know, so your balloon can hit.
Oh, okay.
So it's an interesting card, you know. I think it fits nicely with the deck. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, man. Well, let's go ahead and review these first two replays, I should say, that you shared. Let's start out with the one against Asterix here, because he is a great 2.6 Hog Cycle player, and I'm really interested to see this matchup. Let's go ahead and press play in 3, 2, 1, go, and kind of bring us inside the mind of Pompeyo in terms of like what you're thinking throughout this matchup.
Okay, so first of all, I noticed the Hog name, so I definitely knew it was Hog.
Okay. So you have your cage. You pre-place it. Okay.
Yeah, I pre-placed it because against Hog Rider, you usually just pre-place the cage, because if they go Musketeer, like on your cage, you can just do Mega Minion and just rush. So it's not a good play by him.
Okay.
And he can really fireball it because it's like negative trade.
Okay, and you go for the miner right on the Musketeer there. Interesting. I find all your decision making just very interesting in terms of like, instead of miner on the tower, you go for the assassination, and then you go for the balloon here.
Yeah, I mean, you need to pressure this deck. Because if you don't pressure it, he's just gonna outcycle you. It's a 2.6 deck. It's really fast, so you need to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, and it's noteworthy that
right
you didn't
now,
go for that fireball either.
Yeah, I didn't go for fireball because I knew like he had the elixir to do Hawk, and I didn't if I do fireball. So now here I did. I knew he didn't have Musketeer, so I just pre-placed it.
Okay.
He couldn't do anything about it. So he cannot attack me right now.
And that's what I was talking about with you. Just when you know you don't need it, it seems like your go-to is cycling that Inferno Dragon back there.
Yeah, I mean it basically just like cancels one lane. Like they cannot attack it from attack you from one lane.
So what are you waiting for right now? Like so far in the match, obviously. Okay. So what made you decide to attack here?
I think the way he plays the Musketeer, like. I knew he could pull it, but I knew if I was gonna get damaged, like the dead damage of the balloon, which is important. Basically when he places Musketeer, like there's the placement.
Okay.
Even if he logs, he's still not gonna get hit.
Wow, how did I not know that, man? All right, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, when he places Musketeer, I usually like rush him because he doesn't have anything else. He only has Fireball and Cannon.
Okay. All right.
I usually always go for the Musketeer with my miner.
Okay. Perfect.
Because it's really important to get rid of her.
Okay. And here, so again, you decide not to fireball. It is very noteworthy here because again, you're saving that elixir for the Hog.
Yeah, I mean, you always need to have elixir.
Yeah.
In this matchup, I actually predicted a Musketeer.
Ooh, nice call there.
Yeah.
Do you?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, you need to actually like always have elixir in your hand, even when you're attacking, because you never know he's gonna do like hog and then defend, and you're in trouble because you don't have any elixir. You always need to have some elixir.
Okay. So that time you do take care of the muskie, force a fireball out of his hand. So you
Yeah.
can see how you know when to go aggressive and when to kind of, you've shown a lot of restraint, and then at times you'll just be like, boom, aggressive. Now, cycling
Yeah.
the Mega Minion there, is that something that you do just because you're playing 2.6? Or,
Yeah, it's basically because 2.6, because he actually places the musketeers in the middle. Mm-hmm. And there's the placement again.
yeah, you're wrecking that hog. And again, no
Yeah.
hits. Wow.
No hits. And here, he actually is at a disadvantage, so I do fireball it, because I have the same elixir right now.
Okay.
I can defend the hog. So
Ooh, nice.
basically, because of my level 11 towers, I didn't want to get any hits.
Yeah, let me ask
So
you
I
about your
used
level
the-
11 stuff here. So, how challenging
Yeah.
is it to be a level 11 this high? To me, it strikes me as unbelievably challenging, but you've been max and you've been level 11, so what do you think about it?
I mean, it's pretty difficult, definitely. Like, you start with like 600 hit points less
Yeah.
than level 13. And also your towers do less damage, so it's
you notice
definitely
that?
challenging.
That tower
It's
damage?
definitely noticeable, yeah. I mean, against certain matchups, it's really noticeable. But in
Right.
this one, it's not so much because you usually don't like get a lot of damage.
Yeah,
done.
usually if the hog's getting to your tower, he's getting to your tower.
Yeah.
All right. So far though, you're just chipping away, and the patience here. We're already triple elixir time, and you end up finishing the match there. And he realizes he lost to a level 11 Pompeyo. So nice job there for sure. So talk about like kind of the pacing with your deck. How defensive are you playing it in single elixir versus double elixir? I know a lot of that is matchup dependent, but just generally speaking, are you trying to be rather conservative and just kind of really pick and choose your spots in single?
I think generally I am a bit more aggressive in single because
Okay.
usually it really depends on the matchup, but usually I have more opportunities going in on single than on double.
Okay. Is there ever a time that you throw just like a naked balloon at the bridge, or are you almost always combining it with something?
I think I'm always doing
Okay.
with something else because they almost always have an answer to it.
If they drop a golem in the back in single elixir time, are you pressuring assuming you're equal in elixir? Are you pressuring opposite lane? Are you waiting to defend,
Yeah.
setting up a cage and stuff?
I'm usually doing balloon miner on the other lane, and then just doing like Inferno Dragon and Goblin Cage.
Okay.
Which is the best defense against
Yeah,
golem.
because I guess you have defense on lockdown if you can get him to commit enough elixir to defense, right?
Yeah.
Last question is: do you ever use your miner without the balloon? Like, do you look at this in any way as a miner chip deck, or would that be a mistake if people are always sending in their miner for chip damage?
Yeah, usually on certain matchups, like against Expo, you use miner as a cheap damage card.
Okay.
Like you don't really use balloon to get to the tower.
That makes sense. But other than that,
So,
you're
yeah.
mostly relying on balloon, miner balloon combos.
On most matchups, yes.
Okay, and we saw it there where you used your miner to assassinate the musketeer. Are you more often putting your miner on the tower, or are you putting it on the defensive range unit that can hit your balloon, whether it be a E-Wiz, musketeer, hunter? Well, obviously maybe not hunter, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I usually when they have musketeer, I usually do miner on the musketeer. It
Magic
really
Archer?
also depends on the matchup.
Oh, fireball. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I have the fireball, so it really depends on both if I have elixir and if it's a certain matchup, if it's like a fireball bait matchup or something.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and watch
So,
this last replay here against What's Life. First play in 3,
Okay.
2, 1, and go. All right. So is there a bad starting hand in this deck? You're at the top of the screen, guys.
Yeah, I think not really. Like you always have like something to go for. If not, you can just cycle to your miner or to your balloon.
And I noticed that you
know,
started
there-
this match just with a Mega Minion. You're comfortable making the first play?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I almost always do the first play because my deck is I think it's a little bit better in single elixir, so
Okay,
I don't
you just-
really have any use in just leaking.
All right. So this is the
So, yeah.
This is Expo. Oh man, very interested to see how you handle
Yeah.
this one.
And actually, this is very tough because, I mean, it's 600 hit points left with less, which is like a rocket damage.
Right?
So it's like it's pretty difficult as level 11 to go against Expo.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that part, the rocket cycle here. And he
Yeah.
has so many answers, so many, between the tornado, the Tesla, the rocket, the Expo for your balloons. So you can see why
Yeah.
you said earlier you're relying on your miner here.
Yeah, I mean the miner is the one that's gonna do the most damage here. I
What is
think I
your...
do get a balloon in this matchup, this
Okay.
match, but usually they go to the Expos.
I was just going to ask, what is your normal defense against an Expo? I guess we're seeing it right now.
I think you need to have like the Goblin Cage always on the
Okay.
arena because it really defends like the Expo very well.
Okay.
And then you do like Goblin Cage, and then you do Balloon Miner, so the Expo retargets to the miner when the Goblin Cage is broken. Then the miner dies, and the Expo goes to the brawler.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, because the Expo does retarget onto the tower before the brawler kind of spawns from the cage. So that makes sense. Do you send your miner onto the Expo or onto the tower, or do you kind of switch it up and play mind games?
I actually do mostly on the tower. Sometimes when I'm in trouble, I do on the Expo.
Okay.
Like when I really want to get rid of it.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Like for example here, he has a Tesla, an Ice Whiz, pretty much a lot of things. So I need to go for those first.
Nice. That was a nice fireball too. Just you would hit the Expo, the Tesla, and the Ice Wizard. And there you go, I got a hit.
Yep. I mean, these guys are usually they activate without damage, but I managed to get like a balloon hit with that activation, so
yeah,
that's
you snuck
perfect.
it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually perfect for me.
And now, okay, he's back to the...
Yeah, and now it gets tough because we have the same elixir. He has I think, a slight advantage on the matchup. And I have the level disadvantage.
I was going to say, all it's going to take is a few rockets and this one's over. So do you have to play extra aggressive in this situation because you don't want him to rocket your tower? Or?
Yeah, I actually need to be more aggressive. Like when he defensive expos, I need to be like really aggressive so I can get the damage. He cannot I need to make sure that he doesn't rocket my tower.
Okay. Now,
and if he does, then I punish.
Okay. And now you're sitting here at 1005 HP on that tower. What damage are you looking for before you just start thinking about like fireball, zap cycling? And like, are you thinking about that right now or not yet?
Yeah, I actually need 700 left before I can just cycle.
Okay.
Because 900 is way too much. It's 3 fireballs and I'm gonna get 2 expos on me if I just cycle.
But you got that expo, right? I mean, you got that fireball value right there. He gave it to you with the Ice Whiz. So now you must be feeling pretty good about this match.
Yeah, it's right now I basically won already. I just need to cycle 1 more fireball. So
Captain Obvious Ash, it's like you're 1 fireball away from winning. I'm like, you must be feeling pretty good about this one, huh, Paul? All right.
Yeah.
There you go, and that's how you beat Expo. So against 2.9, I imagine the strategy is actually pretty similar.
Yeah, 2.9 is actually a bit easier if you know how to play against it.
All right.
But I mean, ISO is pretty much. It's not a counter, but it's a tough matchup. 2.9 is just an even, maybe slightly better for you matchup.
Okay, sounds good, man. Well, hey, dude, I feel like we've learned so much more than a typical me just watching your gameplay video. So thank you so much for being so generous with your time here and joining us on Voice, Pomp. My last question to you, and obviously good luck in CRL, good luck to the whole Shivas team. But my last question to you is just any general ladder tips for any of my viewers out there, whether it's with your deck or any deck out there. How would you say? What is the best way to improve as a player? What maybe habits or routines, even if you're watching your losses on replay, what should you be looking for?
I mean, the most important thing is you just focus on one deck on ladder because it's the easiest way to push.
Okay.
Second of all, if it's a meta deck or a popular deck, then find a player that uses it pretty well, and just watch a lot of replays from him. You're gonna learn a lot of things, how he thinks and how he plays different stuff. That really helps out when learning new decks. So yeah, basically just learn from the best players and just get better at the deck, and just keep practicing on ladder, keep pushing, and you're eventually gonna get to a good finish or even
man.
top maybe.
I'm still waiting. 5 years, still trying, man. Some of us are just too old, Pomp. But dude, thanks again, man. You've been absolutely a fantastic guest. We're gonna have to make sure we get you on again, boy, sometime. All right?
Yeah. Thank you very much for the invite, man.
No problem.
I really appreciate it.
Dude, the pleasure is all ours. Trust me, man. Thank you. Guys, a huge shout out to Pompeyo. Follow him on Twitter. All his links, all his player stats and information will be linked for you guys in the show notes below. Obviously, couldn't look for a better player to kind of follow, to keep in tune with not just the competitive scene, but just like replays, tips, all kinds of great stuff from Pompeyo. So give him a little bit of love. And that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information as well. Thank you. And as always, take care, guys.